Welcome in, Chiefs Kingdom. You are tuning into Chiefs Latest. This is your one-stop spot for everything Kansas City Chiefs, usually in 15 minutes or less. I've been going over that time frame in the past two videos, but I'm glad that you guys have been sticking with me and still supporting, even though it's been over 15 minutes. There's just been a lot to talk about, but that's a good sign. That's a good thing. At least I like to think. That way we can just get more educated over our favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs. There's a big game Sunday, of course, a Super Bowl rematch. So that means I'm going to break down things I want to see from this team on Sunday. So it's going to be a little bit of a different episode, but just hang with me here, folks. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But before we dive into any of it, you know the drill. Does not matter the platform you are on. Please hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications because we have daily, that's right, daily videos here at Chiefs Latest Monday through Friday. Folks, after this week, it is already week 3. The season's just going to keep picking up. You're not going to want to miss any of the news, rumors, or actions regarding the Kansas City Chiefs, so please hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications as it not only helps me in the channel, but it's going to help you stay up to date with everything Kansas City Chiefs. Now, an 0-2 start, that would hurt. It would look ugly, of course, in the record, but not only that, it would hurt our confidence. I get it. We're the almighty Chiefs here. No one's been able to take us down in the AFC the past 7-8 years. But here's the thing. You lose again to the Eagles, who embarrassed you in the Super Bowl. I promise you, your confidence and what you think you can do is going to go further down the hole that you've already built. Luckily, though, you're going to be at Arrowhead. That's going to be huge. But the hot topic during press conferences all week, not necessarily a rematch aspect, but was more the fact of who's going to play. What is the status of Xavier Worthy? And we got some shocking news on Thursday. His dislocated right shoulder had him sidelined Wednesday, but I had to double check my eyes. I had to rub him a few times. He was back on the practice field on Thursday. This is just 6 days after he had that collision course with Travis Kelce, who took blame for it, by the way. Which, I mean, he is a veteran, should know the depth there of field, but accidents do happen. Don't want to get off topic here. We know Worthy was central to Nagy's game plan in Brazil. Matt Nagy said that at the press conference this week. Of course, this was going to be the game plan before he went down on that third down incompletion. That early exit obviously threw a wrench in the plans, threw it into a tailspin. It just showcases, though, that they do have reliance on him with Rice sideline until week 7. We saw what he did for this team down the stretch last year. Now, listen, I'm all for getting Worthy back. I'm all for getting the speedster back in the lineup, but we have to be smart, and the coaching staff has to be smart considering the long game here. I get it. We need him back sooner than later, but put him in now, that risks a re-injury. This is just 6 days after this dislocation happened. We get it. We know he's Mahomes' go-to guy, especially with Rice out right now. We saw it last year down the stretch when he led all Chiefs receivers in the postseason in catches, yards, and touchdowns. The bad thing is, Royals, who people are saying has that Rice-like skill set, at least around the organization, is still out with knee tendonitis. He missed Wednesday, he missed Thursday, and that's just a gut punch. He could have eaten up some snaps, especially with the suspension going on right now. Worthy's limited practice, he was wearing a brace, had a sleeve on the right shoulder, which you have to expect coming back 6 days later, but at least he's progressing. He's going from did not play to game ready. But to do that in 3 days, that's going to be a steep climb that I just don't think he's ready for or we should even risk. So I think he should still sit out week 2, but it's nice to see he's back at practice. But limited snaps in this game hopefully would open things up for, Brown and Smith-Schuster. This all comes back to, though, just Rice being out and the offense having to lean on people like Hollywood Brown, who fared well, 10 catches, 99 yards in week 1, and Tyquan Thornton, who showed that deep threat ability. Mahomes just needs to get that connection down, but Mahomes still needs more options. We don't want to repeat a week 1 slow start. If Royals could just play or wasn't injured, you give him a few design touches each game. That could be screens, intermediate routes, it doesn't really matter. One, it would have helped replace some of what Rice gives you in that regard. And not only that, it's going to reduce the wear that you're putting on Worthy's shoulder or just Worthy's body right now. But it's nice to see that he has a quick return to practice. It is a shocker, but it's nice to see. But rushing him back risks the stretch run that we could have at the end of the year. You don't want him limping through week 2, week 3, get hurt again, be out, you know, 5, 6 weeks, try to rush him back down the stretch. It just doesn't make sense. And then with the Royal sideline too, that's hurting his development. So this is just this offensive, as we know, wide receiver core is it's stretched right now. I would sit Worthy for the Eagles. I would sit him for the Giants. He should win that game. And then have him come back for the Baltimore matchup. I think that's just the smarter play here. But Mahomes really does need someone to step up and step up very quickly. All right, let's go to some of my, keys of the game or what I'm looking at Sunday. We're going to start with the offensive line because it's going to be under a microscope again, more specifically 2 players. And those 2 players are left guard Kingsley Suamataia, and then I'm going to the right side and right tackle Jawan Taylor. Week 1 was just a disaster for the entire unit, but Suamataia's side was a hot source of pressure. He was letting Chargers, rushers like Khalil Mack get to Mahomes. While Taylor, don't even get me started on him. I've been yapping about him the past couple of episodes and his penalties, but he had 2 false starts, 4 penalties total. Those are rhythm killers. You can't have rhythm killers. You can't be put behind the sticks, especially after losing your wide receiver 1, especially after not having a run game. And this Eagles pass rush is relentless. It's a game-wrecking unit. If Suamataia's footwork or Taylor's discipline falters, Philly is going to eat us alive. And the bad thing with all this, Taylor's $27.4 million cap hit and guaranteed, that's right, guaranteed $20 million salary, it makes this sloppiness unforgivable. It cannot be happening. Justin Simmons is a rookie and he's locked in at left tackle. But we're paying you all this money you can't figure out. Now we might have to turn to Jalen Moore, who, despite being a career backup, might have to spell Taylor on the right. Might have to say, get out of here, man. Mahomes needs a clean pocket. We got to savage this 0-1 start. The O-line's lack of cohesion, the penalty issues, that's going to bury us against an Eagles unit that wrecked us last year. I don't even want to talk about that game. It was so embarrassing. But yeah, 4 penalties from Taylor. 2 false starts, 2 holding. I get the occasional holding penalty, but come on, man. 30 yards total. 2023, 20 penalties. 140 yards total. NFL leader. Last season, 16 penalties. The Chiefs O-line in week 1, 10 penalties allowed. And they allowed pressure on 17 of Mahomes' 41 dropbacks. If you look at the Eagles' pass rush last season, 67% pass block win rate. That was 6th in the NFL. It could be a long day Sunday if we don't get this figured out. So Suamataia has to tighten his technique, has to have better hand placement, has to have quicker feet. We need to handle those interior rushers. Reed might scheme, some extra chips from Kelsey to help him, of course, but will that be enough? And Taylor has to clean up the pre-snap miscues. It's unacceptable. False starts put Mahomes behind the sticks. And if he can't figure it out, just throw more in there. I get it. He's been a backup, has that backup resume, but it's going to force a switch. With $27.4 million tied up in Taylor, Mahomes taking heat, this unit's cohesion, their discipline, it needs to take a next step. It needs to be showcased on Sunday, or this Eagles team is going to expose this team, and you're going to be sitting us seeing at 0-2. I'm going to stick with the offense because there's another issue that I have and something that I need to see the Chiefs do, and that is establish some sort of run game because that was not existent in week 1. We can't keep leaning on Patrick Mahomes to do everything. We can't, rely on him to hit the deep passes. We can't rely on him to keep plays alive with his feet every time. Someone's got to take the load off him a little bit, especially facing an Eagles defense that just got exposed on the ground themselves last week against the Cowboys. Javonte Williams and company ran for 119 yards, averaging 5.4 yards a pop. And you know how bad that run game was last season for Dallas. It was terrible. But they were exposing this Philly team. However, we can't ignore ourselves that our run game was trash last season. It ranked near the bottom of the NFL in the league. Now, yes, this could have been a fluke for Dallas. Week one games are kind of weird. Weird things happen. But it's a potential wake-up call to get the offense balance or to find some kind of confidence in the run game. It's going to help Mahomes. He threw for 5,097 yards and 50 touchdowns back in 2018, and he had a legit run threat with Kareem Hunt. A more dynamic back is going to pull the safeties up. That's going to open the passing game for our speedsters. That wide receiver room is filled with nothing but speedsters. Well, when healthy, of course. I like Pacheco. Hard downhill runner, but he has average vision. Maybe even below average vision. Just goes straight. His hands, not that great. And his injury history? All those things are rearing its ugly head this season. The Chiefs' run play percentage back in 2018 when Mahomes had that great year, they were 23rd. Last season, 23rd. So it's really, you don't have, no one's scared of your run game. You're calling the same amount of run plays, but yet it's not as effective. So Reed needs to dial up varied run schemes or at least some new blocking schemes. Go more counters, more misdirections. Exploit Philly's aggressive front. The Eagles' 5.4 yards per carry allowed in week one, it's a blueprint. If Williams and Sanders found that out or found a gap, I would like to think that Pacheco and Kareem could as well, especially with Andy Reid. So the Chiefs' run game, it cannot keep being an afterthought, especially after Mahomes led our rushers in week one. If you want the passing game to open up, the run game, again, can no longer be an afterthought. We have to balance the offense. It has to happen at some point, and you might as well try to do it in this game. All right, let's go defense just real quick because I've been only talking about the offense. So I'm sorry for all my defensive lovers out there, but the Chiefs defense, it did get torched in week one. I mean, the entire unit got torched. Secondary was especially bad, though. It got shredded, and the D-line was also really bad, barely touching Justin Herbert. And now they're staring down an efficient Eagles offense. Week one, maybe not as go, but this offense is usually very efficient. Jaden Hicks had a nightmare play. Jamari Connor, he wasn't much better. And where's our $20 million man Fulton at? Christian Fulton. He barely saw the field. This unit needs to flip the script. And with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith coming to town, that flip better be fast. Spags needs to dial up the aggression on Jalen Hurts. We know that Hurts is going to crumble under pressure. And one way to do that is maybe giving rookie Ashton Gelati some snaps. We saw some flashes. He could be the weapon needed right now to help collapse the pocket. You're not seeing it from Omenihu, Noddy, Dana. You're not seeing it from those three. But back to the secondary, they got to tighten up, especially Hicks. And if Fulton, if it's his health or just his play falters, throw in Noah Williams then. He might be a better bet than shifting McDuffie outside. Nick Bolton wasn't much better either. His coverage woes continue. It's another red flag. Maybe you throw in Jeffrey Bassa. Maybe he gets a look on just pure passing downs, converted safety. I don't know. You could look at that. But you're going to have Arrowhead's energy behind you. So this defensive unit needs to step up, needs to bring the power, needs to bring the aggression, or they're going to face another embarrassment. Let's look at some secondary stats here in week one versus the Chargers. Hicks was targeted 6 times, allowed 4 catches, 49 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had blown coverages, Keenan Allen. He was shaken off by Quentin Johnson. Just not good play. Jamari Connor targeted 6 times, and he allowed 6 receptions, 81 yards, and 118 passer rating against. Nick Bolton, 5 receptions. He allowed 5 targets. He also allowed, in those 5 targets, 62 yards and 1 touchdown. If you're looking at, pressure stats, Gelati had a 25% pass rush win rate. Now, of course, that was a small sample, but he had 1 hurry on 4 pass rush snaps. He also had 1 run stop on 5 rush snaps. Hurts, when under pressure, 45% completion rate is what he drops to, 5.5% turnover-worthy play, and a 61 QBR rating. Hurts in week 1, 62 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. So even though that back end had held up fairly well for Dallas, he's still going to kill you with his feet. So Spags should unleash Gelati. He has that 4.65 second speed. Let him chase down Hurts if he needs to. Disrupt those passing lanes. Pair him with Jones. It could be disruptive. Boss's safety background. It might help in the passing situations. At least let Bolton not have his coverage woes show up so much. The Chiefs' defense overall, it was embarrassed. Let's harness Arrowhead's energy. Let's trust in Spags. Let's get to Hurts. Let's see those 3 step up. And I hope to God we could see Christian Fulton as well. But all those things, it's a lot to ask for after what we saw in week 1. That is all that I have for you on this Friday. Let's hope that our Chiefs can get it done on Sunday. Let me know in the comments what you thought about my, top 3 things to watch out for. What are you looking out for in this game? And give me your score predictions as well. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. You are listening to Cheifs Latest. I am your host, Calvin Silvers. And until next time, have a good one.